Be live and direct with Stacy on the Right, StacyOnTheRight.com and FamilyVisionMedia.org. Check out my new pictures. People are like, hey, you're aging backwards. I don't think that's happening, but I'm working really hard over here so I can be fresh and up to date for you, so we can have the best show every night from 9 p.m. to midnight here on SiriusXM Patriot. So let's welcome our next guest, Travis Nix, Young Voices contributor and student of tax law at Georgetown Law. Wow. Travis, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Stacy.
I'm glad you're here. First off, before we dive in on the student loan forgiveness, can you tell us about Young Voices? I see the website is young-voices.com. What is your organization about?
Yeah, so Young Voices is a publishing agency for young conservative and libertarian writers, and they help you write op-eds, get them published in outlets like the Wall Street Journal, National Review, Washington Examiner. Great organization, and can't recommend it enough.
I like it. I think it's fabulous, and they're bringing you to us tonight, so I'm very excited to have you here. Let's now delve into this. So first of all, you're a current law school student, so the student loan debate, student loan forgiveness, the price of tuition at colleges and universities across the country, this is right in the area of life in which you live. And you've written an article entitled, Recipients of Student Loan Forgiveness Should at Least Pay Their Fair Share of Taxes. Talk to us about why you hold this opinion.
Yeah, so taxing debt discharge, so student loan forgiveness, is a absolution of people's debts, has been a longstanding principle of U.S. tax policy for 100 years. The Supreme Court upheld it in a case called Kirby Lumber in 1931, and it had been a longstanding principle of the U.S. tax code up until just last year in the American Rescue Act. The Democrats changed the law. So for the next 5 years, just student loan debt, they said it would not be taxable. So I am of the opinion that states should instead be the ones who's taxing this debt discharge to follow this longstanding principle. And it then helps, we all know about the inherent unfairness in the student loan debt debate. If you went to a cheaper college instead of a more highly ranked private university because of the price and didn't take out loans, you're at a disadvantage under this law because you don't benefit from it. If you work during college, you don't benefit from it. So by states taxing the debt discharge, they will be able to raise revenue that they can use then for tax cuts that would benefit all the populace, such as increasing their state standard deduction, which would mean that less of their income would be taxed at the state level, or they could just give one-time rebates to people as well. So I believe that that would help the economy and help level the playing field a little bit from Biden's program that is just benefiting people who went to very expensive universities and might not have made the sacrifices that other people made to pay off their student loans.
So I can't, obviously the best idea is not to forgive student loans because it's not true forgiveness. It's actually just transferring the debt to people who didn't borrow it. But when you talk about extending out to the unintended consequences, the states are actually going to have to either count it as income or ignore it. And most states, you would think, would not ignore it, but that's not the case. Do you know how many states are actually planning on doing something similar to what you're suggesting?
Yeah, so originally when the loan forgiveness came out, it was 13 states. It looked like from their state tax codes that they would tax it. They've been very rapid in decoupling from actually coupling and enacting what basically the Democrats did in the American Rescue Act and saying we're not going to tax it. And now only 4 states, it's looking like, are going to tax it, which is Mississippi and North Carolina have announced that they're going to tax it for sure. And then the Minnesota and Wisconsin state tax codes also appear like they will tax the loan debt discharge. So that's 4 states in total.
So I saw a news story that said 13 states would actually do this. So that's a far fewer number, 4.
Yeah, the states have been very quickly, governors have been decoupling from the taxing the student loan discharge. So like New York, originally it looked like they were going to tax it, and New Jersey as well, and their states within 24 hours made administrative changes to their tax codes so that they would not tax the debt discharge.
I can't help but feel like that's more special treatment for a very slender segment of the American populace.
Oh, it definitely is. They were doing this because a lot of Democrat states did it because they want to reap the political benefits that they believe that this loan forgiveness will help them in November. So I feel like a lot of states with Democrat governors and Democratic legislators are being the ones to move on this to not tax it because they believe that taxing it would hurt them in November. So it's just simple political expediency for them. They're trying to reap as many political benefits out of this as they can, even though it hurts so many Americans now and in the future.
And that's true. So you're in your article over at the Wall Street Journal. You additionally go into, well, it's a discharge of debt, and it is actually income. So I'm wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about where you see this going. If they're doing it now, and they are, like they're forcing this through before the midterm election in the hopes of salvaging the Democrats' chances of maintaining the Senate and the House, do you see them forgiving more debt in the second half of the first term of President Biden?
I'm not sure about that because there are obviously going to be court challenges to this. It's clearly, in my opinion, unconstitutional. The Biden administration is making a simply outrageous claim about the state of a 2003 post-9/11 law, that law somehow entitles the Department of Education to forgive all this student loan debt, which is an outrageous claim. So there's going to be lawsuits, and if they can find someone who has the capability of suing, who has standing to bring a lawsuit, which could be difficult. But if they do find someone who has standing, I would expect this would be ruled unconstitutional pretty easily because the administration's rationale for this executive order simply makes no sense. So I would expect it to be struck down in court potentially over the next year, and then that would shut the door on them forgiving more debt.
And once that door is shut, hopefully we'd be able to keep it closed. I'll give you the final word here, and certainly thank you again for joining us here on the show tonight, Travis Nix.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Anyone can check out my work on Young Voices or follow me on Twitter at TNix113. I'm always talking about taxes and legal issues. This is a big one that we're going to see play out in the courts. This is bad for taxpayers who are potentially going to have to face more debt in the future and higher taxes in the future because of this action, and it is inherently unfair to anyone who made the sacrifices to pay off their own student loans, and now everyone else is just getting bailed out without those sacrifices.
Yeah, I love it that you're working on connecting the two between tax law and what we're seeing here. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Travis Nix, Young Voices contributor and student of tax law. Can't wait till you're done at Georgetown so you can get out there and swing your sword on behalf of taxpayers.
Yes, we love that. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.